wanted to do was please her. But she was pleased with Jesus. Every night of the week she'd get down on her knees to please ask him to deliver us from evil. But now previously religious people had never bothered me. In fact, for the first half of my life I was raised a good little Catholic believer. They didn't encourage me to question it, but see, they didn't teach me about Santa Claus neither. I had to figure that out for myself. So, while everyone else was exchanging presents, I was asking pestering questions like, how is Santa going to give me gifts if we don't have a chimney? Or if our poor neighbor boy Rodney doesn't get as many presents as me, does that mean he's been naughty? See, they never taught me that Rodney's parents had to work twice as hard as mine to provide the same presents as I'd received. That despite the fact that his parents gave to charities, Rodney can never be quite as lucky under the tree as I would be. And that's when it struck me. That God and Santa Claus were essentially like Lady Luck. You can try to be nice all you like, but in the end, she doesn't give a fuck how good we were. So why should we ever give a fuck about her? I decided then to give up my religion, to double-cross my Christian God, get my fiction from novels. I turned away from prophets, got my advice from the apostles, just regular guys like John or Paul or Doubting Thomas, who taught me to turn my discerning mind towards learning why we're in shit for something that Adam and Eve did. Or if Jesus died for our sins, shouldn't we be sinning it up like motherfuckers just to make it up to him? See, it was these questions and a dozen more unlearned lessons my Sunday school never thought to mention that eventually drove me to take a class in Christian theology. So I could learn why I was deprived of all those things they never taught me, why they wanted to stop me and my early girlfriends from learning about our bodies, why they wanted to replace our burgeoning biologies with faith in a theocracy. See, in Catholic school, I felt imbued with the soul of Isaac, being sacrificed to the Lord's perverse philosophies. But now, in my theology class, I wanted to reverse that ideology, embody a figure from Greek mythology, and murder my Holy Father. And that's when I saw her. God's lonely, hallowed daughter, and God help me, I wanted her. I sat beside her in class, and though I always tried to stare straight ahead, I still felt left behind by that rapturous ass, her apocalyptic hips and her lips of revelations. It was beyond my comprehension that she could speak so beautifully about the Beatitudes while still being imbued with the same rhetoric those Catholic school nuns beat my head with when I was young. I knew I could never quell my rising desire for her, so one day I conspired to lean across the aisle and whisper, if I told you I were your Messiah, would you nail me? And failing that, I asked, can I maybe buy you a cup of coffee? She nearly laughed off me and my tired pickup lines, but something in her smile told me she was inspired by my defiance of etiquette. We never ended up letting it go. We stayed up all that night talking about how we derived faith through our fears and found grace in our doubts. And when morning came round again, we finally got down to it. But just to be safe, I made sure to cross myself when I came. And though she never shouted my name in bed, she sure as shit shouted God's. That first night felt like a menage a trois, a holy trinity of me, her, and the cross. But I guess that's what happens when you let God into your entourage.